In Uganda, strength alone is not enough to survive. The long dry season casts a shadow over the savanna. Grass thins, water recedes beneath the hot earth. As resources become increasingly scarce, every species is forced to adapt to harsher rules.
What did you expect?
And as the pressure increases, every mistake becomes costly. Wild Uganda, where every drop of water becomes a battle. Ugandan is not just a land of great rivers. It is a labyrinth of survival where grasslands and water intertwine. Here, the rainy season sows life. But the dry season is when nature's true nature is revealed. Under the scorching sun, tall grass withers, leaving a golden savanna stretching to the horizon. Hot gusts of wind whistle through the thorny foliage, carrying the rustling of decaying leaves, as if the entire field were holding its breath, watching a colossal movement. Burning thirst forced heavy footsteps to abandon the dry land, converging on the last remaining pockets of mud. And at the heart of this movement was the Cape buffalo herd. From afar, they resembled a massive black rock slowly drifting across the ground. Each individual was a muscular machine weighing nearly a ton, encased in thick hides and hooves pounding against the hot earth. Their confidence lay in the sheer mass of hundreds of individuals, forming an impenetrable defensive wall. Yet, even these tanks of the grassland were unaware that their every movement was being recorded by eyes lurking close to the ground. Crisis in nature rarely begins with a roar. It begins with scarcity, and the first to sense it are always the prey. Under the scorching sun, the Cape buffalo herd moved like a steel fortress marching across the arid land. Each individual was a massive mass of muscle weighing hundreds of kilograms. And the entire herd formed a living wall, strong enough to deter most predators. But even the most impregnable fortress has its weakest moments. An old, weak individual began to run out of breath. Its step slowed by half a beat. Its breathing became heavier. And the distance between it and the herd widened in short, precise meters. Just a few meters on the savanna might seem insignificant. But sometimes it's the thin line between safety and the price to pay. On the edge of the grassland, a gaze had long recognized that mistake. Hidden beneath the pale shade of the acacia bushes, the lions almost vanished into the burnt grass. Their dark golden coats were crafted for this very moment, to disappear before reappearing too late for the prey to react. The predator understood that in this harsh heat, time was on its side. Each laborious step would drain the last vestiges of strength from the old buffalo. The white dust left behind by the herd of buffalo inadvertently became the perfect veil for the impending ambush. Time seemed to stand still in the first moment of the charge. The lioness poured all her strength into the opening blow, aiming precisely at the flanks and hind legs. The areas that could slow the nearly ton prey. The buffalo roared, turning its body in desperate resistance. Its steel horns tore through the air. A single blow would be enough to break the attacker's bones. But this was not a fight between individuals. While the prey was still struggling, the lioness appeared from the front like a door closing.
Well, what did you expect?
It lunged straight at its opponent's head, clamping down on its snout to cut off its breath and break its last counterattack. Amidst the swirling dust storm, strength gradually drained from the giant's body. With a stumble, its entire mass of muscle collapsed to the ground with a heavy, boulder-like thud. For the lions, this wasn't cruelty, but the price of survival in the harsh, dry season. This meal would feed the entire pride, giving strength to its offspring, young, and the hungry days that awaited them. When resources are scarce, the life of an individual often becomes the energy that sustains many other creatures. But on this savanna, the great meal rarely belongs solely to the victor. A lion's victory rarely ends with the fall of its prey. It only opens the shift for those who come after. After minutes of struggling in the hot bushes, the lions quickly devoured the most energy-rich parts. The soft belly, the internal organs, and the easily torn chunks of meat. They swallowed quickly in silence, occasionally growling softly to maintain distance from their fellow lions, avoiding attracting the attention of predators. But under the scorching midday sun, the heat began to wear down even the victors. When the initial hunger subsided, their heavy breathing slowed. Each lion silently left the buffalo carcass, walking towards the rare shade of the acacia bushes to rest, their bellies full after the short but urgent meal. As the predators retreated into the shade, the visitors from the sky began to join the fray. Even before the hunt is over, black dots appear in the scorching sky. Vultures spend almost the entire day soaring high, using their incredibly long-range eyesight to read the smallest signals on the ground. A panicked herd of animals, an unusually high cloud of dust, or lions gathering around a fixed spot. When the predator leaves, they begin to descend. Their broad wings tilt gently in the hot wind, swirling ever lower before landing in short, cautious jumps. They don't need claws to kill. The vulture's weapons are patience, perfect timing, and the ability to be right where death has just passed. Their nearly bare heads are an ideal adaptation for scavenging. When having to reach deep into the abdominal cavity or squeeze between torn layers of flesh, the bare skin holds less blood and bacteria than thick feathers. Their strong, curved beaks aren't used for hunting, but for tearing apart what others have left behind. But on the savanna, vultures aren't the only ones who can read the signs of death. Hyenas have both a keen sense of smell and enough cunning to use their wings as a free warning system. For them, where vultures congregate in large numbers, there's usually new food. Instead of wandering aimlessly across dozens of kilometers of grassland, They simply observe the sky. That's a very practical kind of savanna intelligence. Saving energy by letting other species do the searching first. Hyena jaws are among the strongest in Africa. Large premolars and well-developed biting muscles allow them to crush even hard parts that many other species leave behind. Leg bones, ribs, joint ends, and bone marrow. For hyenas, the true value of a carcass lies not just in the tender meat. Bone marrow is rich in fat, calcium, and precious energy. Especially during the dry season when all other food sources are scarcer. They eat quickly, deeply, and utilize almost everything that's left. It's these species, considered latecomers, that actually help keep the savanna cleaner, with less carrion and fewer opportunities for disease to develop. In nature, death rarely feeds only a victor. It continues to nourish the land, little by little, through the beaks, jaws, and most unnoticed links. Just hours later, the enormous spoils are almost completely gone. But in this dry season, what dries up faster than meat is water. When the rivers dry up, the Ugandan savanna is no longer home. It becomes a silent battlefield where the enemy is internal exhaustion. Every minute under the scorching sun is a step closer to the collapse of the life system. When the entire savanna surrenders to thirst, these gray giants appear like guardians of the Sand Kingdom. African elephants don't just move in search of water. They read the map of life hidden beneath meters of dry earth. With a memory spanning decades of drought, they know exactly where the lifeline lurks behind the mask of death. Elephants don't find water by chance. They read the location of life through ultrasonic vibrations from their feet. These giants press their trunks down to the river sand, listening to the whispers of the underground currents lurking beneath the scorched surface. Once the target is locked in, the digging technique begins. Feet churn up the hot sand and dig deep into the earth. reinforcing the underground layer to reveal drops of murky but precious water. This is not simply an act of quenching thirst. It is a rescue of life. The holes dug by elephants are the only keys to unlocking the door to survival, pulling an entire ecosystem on the brink of collapse from the ashes of the dry season. Nature always has a miraculous law of compensation. The strongest bear the heaviest responsibility. The wells dug by elephants are not only a source of life for their own clan, but a lifeline that keeps the heart of the savanna beating. Elephants reconnect the broken links of the savanna, proving that in the harshest world, life only endures when species rely on the shoulders of giants. And where water appears, life begins to flow. After elephants dig up water in the dry riverbed, the area, which had been silent for days, begins to change. In the dry season, as long as there is water, sooner or later, other species will come. Warthogs often arrive early to take advantage of the quiet period. Their strong snouts help them dig up roots, small tubers, and even the moist, mineral-rich soil around the muddy edges. Despite their impressive curved tusks, these animals usually choose to flee rather than confront directly. The watering spots in the dry season always leave traces of dozens of different species. But the more footprints there are, the greater the risk. In open areas like this, any movement is easily detected. The impala is one of the most vigilant antelope species in the savanna. Their light bodies, long legs, and incredibly fast directional changes have helped them escape danger many times. But speed is only useful when they detect danger early enough. Each species has its own approach. Warthogs take advantage of the mud to find minerals. Impalas drink quickly and then lift their heads to check their surroundings. None of them truly relax, because they all know that where there is water is also where the greatest danger is. The crowd around a water source not only attracts prey, it also tells predators exactly where to wait. In lion prides, females usually take on the majority of the hunts. They are more patient, better coordinated, and know how to use low-lying terrain to approach their target without revealing their position. A young impala, engrossed in the tender grass, inadvertently separates itself from the group, and just one individual, being half a beat slower, is enough for predators to seize the opportunity. The lioness accelerates briefly but explosively, targeting the cub furthest from the group. The impala herd immediately splits and flees, using sharp turns to shake off the pursuers. The chase at the watering point usually doesn't last long. The predator must finish quickly before expending too much energy on the hot ground. However it ends, the rule remains the same. The place where life is concentrated is also the place of the strongest competition. Such hunts help eliminate weak or vulnerable individuals, while keeping the number of herbivores at a level that the grassland and water source can still tolerate. In the savanna, order doesn't come from peace. It comes from the repeated clashes of each day. Hunting, competition, and moments of quiet around water sources have kept the savanna functioning for a very long time. But today, the system is adapting to many new changes. For thousands of years, this land has operated according to familiar cycles. Rain returns, grass grows, herds migrate, and predators adapt seasonally. But these cycles are not always as stable as before. Longer or more erratic dry seasons can make water sources more unpredictable, forcing animals to travel further to find food and water. With longer distances, the risk of exhaustion, predation, or conflict between herds increases. At the same time, as agriculture, roads, and residential areas continue to expand, the natural space for wildlife is gradually shrinking. Encounters between humans and African elephants, lions, and many other species are therefore more likely to occur. Even less noticed species like vultures play a crucial role in scavenging carcasses and limiting disease. When one link weakens, the impact often spreads far more widely than it appears. Nevertheless, the savanna continues to regulate itself through competition, adaptation, and regeneration. Each species, from predators to scavengers, from herbivores to gentle giants, plays a unique role in this cycle. But natural balance is never immutable. It only exists when the links are strong enough to support each other. Tomorrow, the sun will rise again over Uganda, and with it, the struggle for survival will begin once more. In your opinion, what helps Uganda's nature survive the harshest dry seasons? Strength, solidarity, or adaptability? Please share your perspective in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue following more stories from the wild world. A wild dog lags behind, a growl echoing from behind, the breath of death brushing against its mottled fur. Is this the end for the left behind, or the beginning of an improbable escape from a lion and hyena encirclement? A desperate journey. A pack of wild dogs pursued to the brink of extinction in Botswana. Botulism is entering its driest season in a decade. Here, water is gold, and blood is the price to pay for survival. In the scorching sun of the Botswana grasslands, life is not a gift. It must be bought with blood and breathtaking races. It all begins with a masterful display of discipline. The pack of wild dogs, with their coordinated movements like a machine, cornered the antelope. The pounding hooves, precise bites, and unwavering perseverance brought down their prey in the blink of an eye. It was a moment of glory, of hope for the cubs waiting for food in the den. But in this cruel world, finding food is only half the battle. Keeping it is a life or death struggle. Just as the pack of dogs tore off the skin of their prey, a chilling laugh echoed from the bushes, followed by a roar that shook the ground. Not just a few lone hyenas, but a whole army of greedy creatures was swarming forward, and behind them, a majestic male lion emerged from the shadows like a tyrant collecting blood tax. A chaotic battle erupted immediately. The pack of wild dogs was caught between two deadly pincers. On one side were the steel teeth of the hyenas, on the other, the crushing power of the lion. In the chaos, their disciplined formation crumbled. A roar echoed from behind them, the breath of death sweeping through their mottled fur. An unfortunate stray dog was captured. Was this the end for the abandoned one, or the beginning of an improbable escape from a lion and hyena encirclement? It wasn't just the fear of one individual, but the beginning of its darkest chapter. When the laws of nature were overturned, the fruits of their labor stolen, and lives threatened, the pack leader looked towards its exhausted members. It understood that staying meant death. But running away didn't guarantee survival either. A short, sharp bark rang out, not a command to attack, but a desperate migration. The pack of stray dogs accepted abandoning their hard-earned labor, plunging into the pitch-black darkness of Botswana's core. They ventured into the heart of this deadly land in search of a fragile glimmer of survival, beginning a journey where the fate of their entire species hung in the balance, measured in each gasping breath. The relentless hunt officially began, where even the slightest mistake would cost them their lives. Immense pressure weighed heavily on the pack leader as it felt the sun's heat begin to scorch its neck. There was no time to rest, no chance to recover. Just as concentration was waning, a crack in the ground caused the youngest member of the pack to stumble. The fragile safe distance was instantly erased. In a single breath, the darkness behind it transformed into a massive mass of muscle. The lion's missed strike narrowly missed the tail of the retreating wild dog, leaving deep claw marks on the red earth. But instead of succumbing to fear, the instinct for survival ignited one last spark of hope. The small dog made a dangerous turn, using its agility to slip through the small bushes where the lion's massive muscles became a burden. The chase was no longer a simple hunt, but had officially become a horrific physical and mental torture lasting 48 hours without rest. Despair reached its peak as the enemy showed no intention of letting go. The hyena pack began to split up and surround them. Instead of a direct attack to quickly finish them off, they chose a psychological warfare tactic, their chilling laughter echoing across the grasslands at night. The pack of wild dogs was forced into a cruel life or death dilemma. If they stopped to fight back against the opportunistic hyenas, they would be crushed by the lions. But if they continued to flee for their lives, their chests would burst under the scorching Botswana sun. In this desperate situation, the pack's military discipline was once again put to the test. The strongest individuals took turns falling behind, forming a human barrier to hold their ground, accepting the enemy's claws to make way for the younger ones to advance. However, Botswana's nature never knew compassion. After 2 days and nights of relentless pursuit, the pack of dogs now faced the Okavango River in its flood season. A murky body of water teemed with ancient predators lurking in wait. Behind them, a swirling cloud of dust signaled the enemy's approach. There was no turning back. In that breathtaking moment, the alpha lion paused, turning to look directly into the jaws of its foe, then glancing at its trembling cubs. A desperate decision was made: gamble their lives in the raging water, or perish forever in the jaws of the land predators. A bark rang out like a vow of death. The entire pride plunged down the moment the lion's claws touched the sandy shore. The icy river water did not cool the heat of the chase. It only opened up a new, more brutal battlefield. Beneath the deep water, colossal crocodiles, ancient predators that had waited millions of years for such moments of vulnerability, began to move. A chaotic battle erupted in the water, the splashing of water, the hissing of crocodiles, and the heart-wrenching cries of those dragged down to the depths. Those fortunate enough to reach the other shore were utterly exhausted. They stood there, their bodies covered in wounds, gazing towards the other bank, where lions and hyenas were mere helpless ghosts against the raging current. The chase ended not with a glorious victory, but with a painful existence. Botulism remained the same, cold and cruel. The pack of wild dogs had survived the improbable escape, but they had lost so much. The scars on their bodies would heal, but the haunting presence of death's breath would forever run through the veins of the survivors. In this world, the strong don't always win, but the most resilient are the ones who tell their own story. Under the blood-red sunset of Botswana, the pack of dogs continues its journey. For they understand that, as long as they breathe, the journey of survival will never end. On the brink of life and death, do you believe that resilience can conquer fate? Leave your thoughts and click subscribe to continue following these breathtaking journeys of nature. Thank you, and see you again.
For him, every day is a battle. Every meal is a gamble of life and death. From the venom of scorpions to the fury of cobras. A battle that takes place not only on the ground, but also in the treetops. Now, a new challenge appears. The Little Giant. How Honey Badger challenged the continent. The greatest predator. Dawn broke over the vast African savanna, a golden carpet stretching endlessly under a cloudless blue sky. The first rays of sunlight penetrated the mist, still clinging to each blade of grass, sparkling like millions of tiny diamonds. In the midst of that majestic and harsh scene, a small, dwarfish figure moved silently. It was Rasco, the honey badger, a solitary creature that did not belong to any pack. The attempt to steal puppies from the den of wild dogs had failed miserably, but Rasco had no concept of shame or regret. Only disappointment and hunger still smoldered, urging him on endlessly. His footsteps were quick, leaving small tracks on the still wet ground, which were quickly erased by the morning breeze. Rasco was a lone warrior, and in this vast wild world, every meal had to be earned by hand. Every failure was a lesson. Expensive education. Its life was a never-ending journey, where only the pure instinct for survival roared in every fiber of its being. Rasco's solitary journey continued under the increasingly harsh sunlight. It glided nimbly between the dry thorn bushes, its wet black nose sniffing the slightest scent in the air. Its sharp eyes scanned every stone slab, every patch of burnt grass, searching for any sign of a potential meal. For Rasco, everything could be food, from tiny insects to dangerous reptiles. Suddenly, a sweet and familiar scent hit its nose, causing Rasko's small eyes to light up, a look of greed and determination. It was the smell of honey, a delicacy, a source of abundant energy, a worthy reward for any risk. Following the scent, Rasko moved deeper into an area. There were many ancient acacia trees, and finally, a beehive was discovered in the middle of an old tree trunk. Thousands of honeybees buzzed around the nest, forming a living defense screen, ready to sacrifice themselves to protect their sweet treasure. For most other animals on the savanna, this was an impenetrable wall of defense, a deadly threat that they would avoid at all costs. But Rasko was not most. He was a honey badger, and fear seemed to not exist in his dictionary. His thick, tough, armor-like skin, along with his shaggy fur, was the perfect shield against thousands of bee stings. Without any hesitation, Rasko began to climb up the rugged acacia tree trunk. His sharp, powerful claws firmly gripped the bark, allowing him to climb high with surprising ease. Immediately, hundreds of aggressive worker bees rushed out to attack, stinging his thick fur. The stings were as painful as 1,000 needles pricking at the same time. But Rasko didn't care at all. He just shook his body slightly. The bees fell to the ground like rain, then continued his journey, determined to reach his goal. When he reached the hive, Rasko did not delay. He used his sharp, powerful claws to tear the honeycomb's shell. Pieces of golden beeswax, soaked in sweet honey and fatty larvae, began to fall out. Rasko took a large bite, savoring the rich sweetness melting in his mouth, a rare feast in this harsh world. The bees still buzzed, still stung, but this greedy person was only immersed in the sweetness of his spoils. He ate hastily but thoroughly, not wasting a single bit. This was a small victory, but full of meaning, a testament to Rasko's indomitability and extraordinary endurance. After satisfying his hunger with honey and larvae, Rasko continued his search. Although honey was delicious and nutritious, it did not provide enough protein for a predator like Rasko. The hunger still burned, urging him to continue. He moved to a sandy area, where the midday sun burned the ground, creating shimmering mirages. This was the land of small but dangerous creatures. Rasko's sharp eyes scanned each small dune, and his nose sniffed constantly, searching for the distinctive scents. Suddenly, he stopped, sniffing in concentration. A familiar scent, full of danger, but also an abundant and easy-to-find food source, the scent of scorpions. Rasko began to dig in the sand. His sharp, powerful claws pierced the soft sand with ease, quickly creating small holes. It dug relentlessly. Persistence was key. In a moment, a large scorpion, with a curved, venomous tail, burst out of the sand. The scorpion raised its pincers threateningly, its tail whipping up and down like a sword of death, ready to deliver a deadly sting. Most animals would shy away from this deadly, venomous creature. But Rasko was different. He was a seasoned scorpion hunter, equipped with thick skin and a special immunity to venom. With a lightning-fast grab, he used his forelegs to pin the scorpion to the ground, locking all movement of his prey. Then he bit down hard on the head, a fatal bite that instantly eliminated the danger of the venomous tail. In an instant, the scorpion was subdued. Rasko began to nibble on his meal, savoring the crunch of the shell and the precious protein. The scorpion venom, like that of a snake, seemed to have no effect on Rasko, allowing him to enjoy his meal safely. He continued to dig, find, and eat more scorpions, turning the deadly, dangerous sand dunes into his own personal feast. Each scorpion he caught was a small victory, a testament to the lone animal's ingenuity and superior hunting instincts. Dusk fell, ending a day of foraging for food for the lone animal. Rasko found a nearby cave to shelter for the night. A little honey and a small scorpion were enough to get him through the day. Tomorrow was still a long journey ahead. The harsh African noon sun beat down on the savanna, making the air sultry. Rasko, the lone honey badger, was moving slowly along a small trail. With its greedy nature and constant need for energy, it was still looking for a bigger meal, enough to sustain its relentless journey of survival. Its small eyes were constantly scanning around, its ears were perked up to pick up every little sound, and its nose was constantly sniffing, looking for any sign of prey. Suddenly, a cold, familiar, and deadly scent wafted through Rasko's nose. The smell of a cobra. A feeling of excitement crept through its small body. From a low bush that was dried out under the harsh sun, a mysterious creature began to appear. It was a Cape cobra, one of the most venomous and feared snakes in Africa. With shiny golden scales, or sometimes copper brown, jet black, glistening under the harsh sunlight. The snake began to slither, a graceful movement that was mesmerizing. Every vertebra and muscle under its shiny golden scales flexed rhythmically, propelling its long, powerful body forward. It did not slide, but seemed to glide along the ground, making no sound other than the faint rustle of its scales against the dry grass and twigs. Suddenly, the snake seemed to sense a sense of danger approaching. It quickly slithered up a nearby tall tree. With its long, powerful body, it began to slither up the tree trunk, looking for a safe haven high up, where it believed a ground predator would not be able to catch up. But the snake had misjudged the honey badger. Rasko was undaunted. It looked up, its eyes flashing with determination. The snake was its chosen meal, and it would not give up. With its short but powerful legs and sharp claws, Rasko also began to climb the tree. It was a rare sight, a sight that was extremely surprising. A honey badger, a species that lives mainly on the ground, chasing a cobra all the way to the top of a tree. The chase continued on the precarious branches. The cobra slithered faster, trying to hide among the dense foliage. But Rasko, with incredible tenacity, still clung to it. It weaved through the branches, sometimes using its teeth to cling to the trunk, showing off an incredible climbing ability that few expected. The suspense was high, as the audience wondered if the honey badger would succeed in this gravity-defying hunt. Finally, the snake was cornered on a stump, with no way to escape. It turned around, spreading its hood once more, its angry and helpless hissing sound resounding. Rasko had come too close. The narrow space on the branch made it difficult for the snake to move flexibly to avoid. And then the snake fell to the ground. Rasko was not one to give up easily. It quickly slid down from the trunk to chase the snake. The cobra quickly recovered. It spread its hood as wide as possible, its angry hissing sound more intense than ever. The humiliation of being defeated in its own turf and the painful fall had driven it mad. Every defense now turned into a relentless attack. It lunged at Rasko, delivering a series of quick, lightning-fast bites aimed at the honey badger's head and neck. Its deadly venom was its only remaining weapon, and it would use it to the bitter end. Rasko feinted over and over again, forcing the snake to react, then quickly dodged the counterattack. It relied not just on tenacity, but on strategy. It tried to wear the snake down, forcing it to move, attack, and defend. Both were masters of survival, and this fight was the ultimate test of skill and will. Finally, when the snake tried to run, Rasko chased it and grabbed its tail. The cobra struggled violently, its long body lashing at Rasko, trying to escape. But Rasko held on like a steel clamp. It did not let go. It continuously tightened its jaws, completely finishing off its opponent. Rasko began to enjoy the meal it had won, with extraordinary courage and skill. The afternoon sun dyed the grasslands a golden yellow, signaling the end of another day. Rasko, after being full, found a hiding place to rest. But even while resting, Rasko's instincts never slept. A new scent, familiar and powerful, wafted through the air. The scent of lions. A pride of lions was resting not far away, with a feast of buffalo that had just been killed. The size of the pride of lions, their strength and ferocity, could make any other predator tremble. But Rasko was different. His hunger and his unruly nature arose again. Will this lone and unruly man dare to confront the king of the prairie himself for a piece of his meal? Or will this be a line even Rasko cannot cross? The life of Rasko, the unruly honey badger, is a living testament to the extraordinary will to survive in the wild. From his failed puppy theft to conquering a beehive, hunting scorpions, and especially his life or death confrontation with a cobra, Rasko has shown us that size does not determine strength. Courage, tenacity, and adaptability are the keys to survival. Do you want to continue following Rasko's dramatic journey and find out whether he dares to confront the king of the savannah? How will his story continue? Subscribe to the channel today so you don't miss the next episode of Rasco and countless other fascinating stories from the mysterious natural world. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. If you love the story of Rasco and the wild creatures, please like this video and share to spread the magical beauty of nature to more people.